This monster is going down! Jaden, the Red Raider, lifted his phaser, ready to fire.
You raiders truly believe you can save this city? You can't even save yourselves.
Deverax swept his arm to the side, unleashing a torrent of explosions which sent the valiant raiders scattering to oblivion. As the dust settled, the Pink Raider Timberly raised her head from the ground to speak.
We can't fight him. He's too powerful.
Well, don't say that. If we give in to despair, he's already won. Corey, the Black Raider, was the first to stand. Besides, we've fought tougher guys than this. Remember Baron Draco? The Blue Raider, Will, joined the others, wiping dirt from his morph suit.
We knew Baron Draco's weakness was sunlight. Until we figure out what makes Deverax tick, I estimate we've got an 87% chance of utter defeat. Then I say we throw everything we have at him.
The Yellow Raider took a fighting stance with her twin blades at the ready. The whole team arranged themselves in their iconic formation. Jaden lifted his blaster once more.
Okay, Raiders, turbo charge! What?
Alex shouted to his bedroom door as he paused the episode of Turbo Raiders he had seen 100 times before.
I told you I'm busy today. I'll grab stuff later.
He turned back to the screen, then rubbed his temples between his thumb and middle finger. His room was awash with the cold glow of childhood. It was the only source of light among the cluttered shelves of figurines and empty bottles on the floor. To say that his life was bleak would be an understatement, but Alex didn't feel it. Not as long as he had the Turbo Raiders. They were brave warriors who always saved the day while balancing their teenage social lives. It was more than just a story. It was a memory of a time when everything made sense.
If we're going all out, let's summon the Lux Raider.
As the show began its lengthy montage, which was mandatory for combining all the Turbo Raiders' giant robots together, Alex heard the sound of sirens wailing outside. With a dull electric moan, his computer powered off, and the portable fan stopped spinning. He sat alone in the dark for several seconds.
Fine, I get it. I'll go grab a can of gas for the generator.
Alex slowly got to his feet. Rolling blackouts were a common occurrence these days. The city said it was to help power the new data centers. It was supposed to be a temporary measure, but that was 3 months ago. Maybe even longer. The days and nights were a far-off cycle, high above his thoughts and blocked out by the thick curtains hanging over the windows of his room. A gallon of gas would keep the generator going for a few hours, long enough to finish the season out and fall asleep. He didn't bother changing his old clothes. He simply grabbed a red gasoline can from the kitchen and headed down the street. An ambulance wailed past Alex as he shuffled along. It was followed closely by more emergency vehicles. The cry of the sirens was overwhelming. He stopped and closed his eyes. When he finally opened them again, a woman was standing in front of him.
Please, they're taking my husband away.
She pleaded. Her eyes were glassy and red, full of fear and anger.
Somebody please.
Alex let her walk by without saying a word. The gas station was surrounded by desperate people, all trying to fill their tanks. Horns blared, men shouted, a peppery smell of tear gas hung in the still air. The only saving grace of the situation was the fact that they still had power on this block. A scuffle at the closest pump caught Alex's attention.
Aren't you done yet? Curfew starts in a few minutes. We have to leave before the troops get here.
Shut up, I'm getting extra cans for my generator.
I bet you're just scalping those. Planning to mark up the price once you drive around the block, huh?
The man had about 15 one-gallon cans which he was loading into the bed of his truck. As the hoarder screwed the cap on yet another, the confrontational man sent it sliding across the pavement with a firm kick. The can came to rest beneath a nearby car as the two grappled violently with one another. Amid the chaos that quickly unfolded, Alex grabbed the far-flung can and ran back to his home. Gunshots echoed behind him as the setting sun cast long shadows down the street where he grew up. Back in his room, with the generator filled and running, Alex rebooted his computer and watched as the comforting blue light filled his eyes. He opened the folder where he kept all 35 seasons of Turbo Raiders. He had watched its 642 episodes a dozen times over. He knew every story arc, every villain, and every heroic last stand. He even saw the latest reboot movie in theaters, though it was admittedly pretty terrible. His figure collection was unmatched as well, even if nobody had ever seen it. This was home. It was all he needed.
Shut up! Shut up!
He closed his eyes tight. The sirens outside blared. Explosives detonated somewhere far away. They could have been fireworks or IEDs for all he knew. Through his covered ears, he heard the screams of children, the angry shouts of men and women, and all he could do was press play.
No, I'll get you next time, Turbo Raiders. You may have friendship on your side now, but I'm immortal, inevitable. You'll lose hope eventually, and I'll be waiting.
Enraged, Alex shot up and opened the door.
What do you want?
He screamed. On the floor in the hall there lay a pile of bones and ash.
I'm sorry, okay?
Alex began to sob.
I can't do anything for you, for anyone. I'm a failure. All I can do is hide.
He slid to the floor and stared at the framed pictures along the wall.
Remember when we used to watch new episodes together on Saturday mornings? I just want to go back.
Alex knocked his head against the wall and continued to weep. The blue light of his monitor shone down the hall. He saw from a distance the opening credits of the next episode starting. This knock was different. It was coming from the front door. Through teary eyes, he glanced at the floor where the bones had been, but only dirty tiles remained. As the knocking continued, he forced himself up and stumbled to the entryway. Trying not to make a sound, he trembled cautiously up to and against the door. Through the peephole, he saw a man dressed all in black. He had tactical gear, but on his head he wore a helmet shaped like a skull. The man stood motionless for some time, then raised his hand and waved.
Hello.
The man spoke as casually as a next-door neighbor.
You wouldn't happen to have any undesirables in there, would you?
Alex could only blink. What was he talking about?
I heard some yelling just a moment ago.
The man continued.
Sounded like an argument. Probable cause, you could even say?
Alex swayed, trying to think of a response, something to make him leave.
Go away. There's nobody here.
The man tilted his skull in confusion, then sighed. Do you see this? This is the hand that feeds. He held out his right palm, which was empty. And this is the hand that takes. Alex heard a low thud as the masked man used his left hand to move a heavy battering ram into view. Feed me that which I desire, or I will take it by force.
Who are you?
Alex called.
Some kind of cop?
Some kind, yes. And this is officially a raid. With a single heavy blow, the fragile door crumpled and fell, cracking the tiles of the hall. Alex scurried away to the kitchen. He reached for the knife drawer near the fridge, but an explosive pop stopped him in his tracks. Smoke wafted from a small hole near the handle. Turning slowly, he saw the man holding an automatic pistol. Stop resisting. He wagged a gloved finger at Alex in disapproval. On the counter was the empty gas can Alex had carried home earlier. Panicked, he tossed the plastic container toward the raider, who paused momentarily for fear of shooting the flammable liquid. In that moment, Alex fled to the safety of his room and slammed the door. Heavy boots echoed methodically down the hallway. Alex curled himself in a ball, watching the Turbo Raiders in their civilian outfits sitting around a table at the school cafeteria discussing the episode's events. This one was a classic. The villain of the week steals Tara, the Yellow Raiders, twin blades, and she has to go on an introspective journey to get them back. Alex had resonated with the episode so much, he had purchased authentic replicas of the blades from an auction site. With a torrid slam, the door swung hard, its knob leaving a hole in the drywall. The Raider stepped in slowly and looked around the darkened room. Only the shifting blue light from Alex's monitor illuminated the space. "You hiding in your kid's room, big guy?" he asked without turning away from the screen.
Okay, Raiders,
Alex said shakily from behind.
turbo charge!
He lunged forward, knife in hand. It struck the masked Raider square in the chest. The blade snapped off and clattered to the floor. He stood in confusion, gripping the chunky yellow handle.
Are you serious?
He struck Alex to the ground with a single gloved smack.
I'm wearing a flak vest. Did you really think a toy blade would do anything?
The man straddled him, holstered his gun, then dragged the battering ram across the floor and held it in both hands.
Not a toy blade.
Alex choked out, his blood pooled in his mouth. The blurry skull raised his battering ram. A sudden knocking made the masked man pause. He looked up towards the open door.
Not a toy blade. A twin blade.
With a single thrust, Alex stabbed the second replica straight into the man's throat. Blood sprayed downward into Alex's face. The battering ram clattered to the floor. The masked Raider reeled backward, clutching his throat. He tore about the room in a panic, knocking over the monitor and ripping down the blackout curtains. He finally collapsed in a heap on the floor. When Alex awoke, the blue light had gone, replaced by the flickering orange of distant fires in his neighborhood. He spat out a heavy burble of blood and mucus, then got to his feet. His monitor was broken, his figures scattered. There was work to do, but not in here. Not in the hall where the bones had faded away.
Okay. I'll do it.
Alex winced as he headed for the door.